Hi everybody, it's Miss Jessica from the Tech at Lowell Branch Library, and welcome to another Tech STEM Minute. Since our summer reading theme this year is Tales and Tales and is all about animals, we're going to be taking a look at some of the science behind the animal kingdom in our Tech STEM Minutes this summer. In this experiment, we're going to be exploring what helps some animals withstand super Arctic cold temperatures. For this experiment, you'll need 4 sandwich-sized Ziploc baggies, a rubber spatula, some all-vegetable shortening, a thermometer if you have one, a large bowl filled with cold water and lots of ice added so that it's super cold, and some towels so you don't make a mess. The first thing we're going to do is take one of our plastic bags. You're going to open it up and you're going to turn it all the way inside out, just like that. And then you're going to take your all-vegetable shortening and your rubber spatula. Grab some of that shortening on your spatula and spread a nice layer of it all over the outside of your plastic bag. Not just this side, but the other side as well. So I'm going to work on doing that. Okay, I've got a pretty good layer. If you notice, I had to kind of use my hand to help support it. Now we're going to take another one of our Ziploc bags, open it up as wide as we can get it, and then we're going to slip this bag that's covered with the shortening on the inside of this other Ziploc bag. Try not to get too much of the shortening on the other bag. All right. Gonna clean up my messy shortening hands real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I cleaned up my shortening mess just a little bit, because that is a pretty messy part of the experiment, we are going to take another plastic bag, turn it inside out just like we did the first one that we had. But this part, we don't have to get super messy and cover this with shortening before we open up our 4th plastic bag and stick it on the inside just like that. So basically when you're finished, you should have one paper bag glove that doesn't have the shortening on it and you can stick your hand on the inside without getting it dirty. And then you should have your one with shortening on the inside that you can stick your hand in. And your hand still might get a little dirty doing this, but that's okay. Now that I have my plastic bags ready to go, I'm going to grab my bowl with my ice cold water with lots of ice cubes in it, and I am going to put the plastic bags, one on each hand, just like this, and I'm going to stick them inside this cold water. And when I do, and if you're following along at home, I want you to do this as well. I want you to think about how your hands are feeling compared to each other. Is one colder than the other? Do they feel about the same? Think about that as you're doing it. And as you put your hands in the water as well, don't completely submerge your hands. We don't want any water getting in the top of the bags. So just kind of stick them in just like this. I'm going to leave them here for a minute, and I can tell you one thing. This hand with the plastic bag that doesn't have the layer of shortening is definitely feeling a lot colder right now than the hand that does have the shortening. And it's getting really cold, and I don't want to leave my hands in there too long, so I'm going to pull those out. That was an interesting observation. Definitely seemed like this hand got colder and stayed colder the entire time that my hands were in that ice cold water. So now I'm going to put these aside and I'm going to give them a minute or two so that they can fully get back to room temperature. And then we're going to do one more experiment with these. Okay, so I've given these guys a few minutes so that they've been able to warm back up a little bit. And I now am going to take my thermometer. It's got a readout right now of room temperature, about 75 degrees. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to stick it inside the bag with the Crisco, just like this, so it's sticking out at the top just a little bit. And it's already dropped a few degrees, that's okay. And now I am going to stick it inside the water. And I'm going to watch the temperature. Now I'm going to give it about 30 seconds. I see it's going down a little bit. It's down to right below 72 degrees now. We'll give it about another 15 seconds and see how low it gets. So we started at around 73. We're about to drop below 70 degrees here. All right, looks like we are going to get all the way down to about 67 degrees for that bag. Now I'm going to take this and set this aside, give my thermometer just another minute to kind of bring itself back up to temperature. Okay, so this got back up to about 75 degrees. I think it's going to stay right there. So we went from about 73 degrees to about 67 degrees on this. Oh, and this is probably because I'm holding it. I made the temperature go up a little bit. So we're actually going to start this one at around 77 since I accidentally raised the temperature a little bit. And now I'm going to do the same thing I did and stick this inside the water for about 30 seconds. Oh wow, we have already dropped to below 50 degrees. That fast. And we still have about 15 seconds left to go. Wow. Oh, I want to see if it's getting close to getting below 40. So we're going to see if it gets below 40 before we've got about 3 seconds left. Oh, so close to getting below 40. Oh, right as I took it out, it got below 40 degrees. Well, it came back up as I pulled it out of the ice water, but wow, that was a much bigger drop without the layer of Crisco from when we put the thermometer in with the layer of Crisco and without. Pretty cool. So why does the added layer of shortening help keep your hand warmer when you put it in the ice water? And what does this have to do with how some animals are able to stay warm in colder environments? Well, the shortening has fat molecules in it that are acting as an insulator, or something that doesn't let heat escape as fast. So when you put your hand in the ice water, the body heat from your hand is escaping slower and less of it is escaping through that layer of shortening than when you put your hand in the ice water with just a plastic bag over it. Some animals have a fatty layer like this underneath their skin called blubber. And this layer of blubber can be anywhere from a few inches to a whole foot thick. Most animals that have blubber are found living near Arctic waters, like polar bears and penguins, seals, whales, animals like that. And this blubber not only helps keep their body heat in, so it helps keep them warmer in those cold Arctic temperatures, but it can also store nutrients. So when food is scarce, they can pull nutrients from their blubber as well. If you would like to try this experiment at home yourself, or you would like to learn more, I've left the webpage with the experiment in the description down below, so be sure to check that out. Thank you for joining me today, guys, and I'll see you next time.